July 2nd, 2021, the United States Air Force rolled an A-10 Thunderbolt II out of a paint facility in Sioux City, Iowa that looked unlike any Warthog in history. Coated in a menacing two-tone black and dark gray, this wasn't just a cosmetic shift for the 122nd Fighter Wing Blacksnakes. It signaled a radical, highly classified rebirth. The aircraft the Pentagon repeatedly tried to write off as an obsolete Cold War relic is right now undergoing the most extreme modernization in its 40-year lifespan. Today, on Global Strike Metrics, we are exposing the billion-dollar upgrades turning the A-10 into a 21st century digital executioner. From the integration of the GBU-39 Small Diameter Bomb that allows a single Warthog to engage 18 separate targets simultaneously, to the cutting-edge high-resolution display system, jam-resistant GPS, and the advanced HObIT Helmet Tracker, the A-10 didn't just survive the boneyard, it just became far more dangerous than anyone expected. Do not click away, because you are about to see the exact tactical specifications keeping the Warthog at the top of the food chain. Part 1. The Blacksnake Livery and the Psychology of CAS. Before we tear into the avionics and weapon integrations that make this new A-10 an absolute nightmare for enemy armor, we have to talk about the physical transformation, the visual manifestation of this aircraft's new era. The A-10 has worn many skins since it first flew in 1972. It wore the European One woodland camouflage in the 1980s, designed to hide the aircraft against the forests of the Fulda Gap as it hunted Soviet tank columns. After the Gulf War in 1991, the Air Force transitioned the fleet to the Compass Ghost two-tone gray, a scheme engineered to minimize visibility from below as the threat matrix shifted from low-level dogfights to surface-to-air missiles. But the jet bearing serial number 800244, assigned to the Indiana Air National Guard's 122nd Fighter Wing, broke all the rules. To commemorate 100 years of aviation in the Indiana National Guard, the Blacksnakes commissioned a livery that is nothing short of psychological warfare. The paint scheme is a mixture of jet black and dark gray, breaking along standard A-10 paint lines on the massive unswept wings, the high-mounted twin TF-34 turbofan engines, and the titanium-armored fuselage. The nose of this specific aircraft is wreathed with a distinctive green-eyed snake, complete with venomous fangs surrounding the massive, iconic 30mm rotary cannon. The tail flashes feature the text Fort Wayne embossed in yellow over an Indiana state flag blue background on one side, and a checkered flag honoring the racers of the disbanded 181st Fighter Wing on the other. But this paint job is far more than a heritage tribute. It represents a paradigm shift. The A-10 is no longer just a daytime mud mover. It is a night-stalking precision strike platform. The black paint perfectly encapsulates the A-10's modern mission profile, lurking in the dark, leveraging advanced sensors, and delivering devastating kinetic effects before the enemy even knows they are being targeted. Critics have spent the last decade arguing that the A-10 is too slow, too visible, and too vulnerable to survive in a modern, highly contested airspace against near-peer adversaries deploying advanced layered air defense networks like the S-400. They pointed to its subsonic speed and lack of stealth capabilities. But the engineers at the 53rd Wing and the 422nd Test and Evaluation Squadron didn't respond by making the A-10 faster or stealthier. That defies the physics of the airframe. Instead, they responded by making it smarter. They initiated the Common Fleet Initiative, a massive overhaul designed to bring the entire remaining fleet to a common baseline of extreme lethality. The A-10 isn't trying to outrun fifth-generation missiles. It is evolving to outthink and outrange them. Part 2. Suite 10 and the HObIT Helmet. The first phase of this radical transformation comes in the form of software and sensor fusion. Let's look at the Operational Flight Program, or OFP. The upgrade from the legacy A-10A to the A-10C in 2005 was a massive leap, introducing precision weapons and a partial glass cockpit. But the new Suite 10 and Suite 11 software packages make the original A-10C look like a pocket calculator. Suite 10, rolled out rapidly to the fleet, focuses on something called multiple target list improvements. In the past, dropping different types of ordnance on different targets required an immense amount of heads-down pilot workload. The pilot had to manually select, designate, and switch between weapon profiles while simultaneously flying a heavily loaded aircraft low to the ground in combat conditions. It was a cognitive bottleneck. Suite 10 shatters that bottleneck. A modern A-10 pilot can now engage multiple targets with 3 entirely different weapon types on a single pass. The onboard computers handle the ballistics, the timing, and the sensor allocation. The aircraft actually informs the pilot if the release parameters are met for all intended targets simultaneously. Imagine an A-10 rolling in and dropping a 500-pound laser-guided bomb on a bunker, a GPS-guided JDAM on an anti-aircraft artillery site, and firing a laser-guided rocket into a moving technical vehicle, all within seconds in one continuous run. But the real magic happens right in front of the pilot's eyes. The Suite 10 upgrade fully integrated the HObIT, the hybrid optical-based inertial tracker. Developed by Thales Visionics, this is the successor to the Scorpion helmet-mounted cueing system the A-10 community has relied on since 2013. Standard helmet-mounted trackers use magnetic fields to determine where the pilot is looking, which can be thrown off by the massive amounts of metal in an aircraft cockpit, especially the 1,200-pound titanium bathtub encasing the A-10 pilot. The HObIT bypasses magnetic interference entirely. It utilizes a highly advanced optical head tracker. If you look inside the canopy of an upgraded A-10, you will see a matrix of small, precisely placed reference dots. The cameras on the helmet track these dots in real time, instantly calculating the exact angle, tilt, and direction of the pilot's head with zero latency and zero magnetic deviation. What does this mean for the battle space? It means the pilot can literally look at a target on the ground, press a button on the HOTAS, hands on throttle and stick, and instantly slave the aircraft's targeting pod, weapons, and sensors to that exact patch of dirt. If a ground controller calls out an enemy tank column at a specific coordinate, a digital marker appears floating in the pilot's visor, overlaid on the real world. The pilot doesn't need to look at a screen to find the target, they just look out the window. The HObIT helmet turns the pilot's own vision into the primary targeting sensor. Part 3. The HRDS and Suite 11 Agile Development. If Suite 10 was the foundation, Suite 11 is the superstructure, and it brings with it the most significant hardware modernization since the jet was built, the High-Resolution Display System, or HRDS. For decades, the center of the A-10's instrument panel was dominated by the six-pack, the traditional analog flight instruments like the altimeter, airspeed indicator, and attitude indicator. While reliable, they took up prime real estate in a cockpit that desperately needed more screen space for modern sensor feeds. The Suite 11 upgrade rips out the old analog center console and replaces it with a massive 11.6-inch 1920 by 1080 pixel multifunction color display. In the world of fighter jets, getting a screen this large and this crisp is a game changer. This digital primary flight display does more than just show altitude and speed. It serves as a centralized, high-definition hub for the aircraft's targeting pod footage and a brand new, highly detailed moving map engine. Before the HRDS, pilots had to look at smaller, lower-resolution screens to identify targets through their Lightning or Sniper advanced targeting pods. Identifying a combatant carrying a rocket-propelled grenade versus a civilian carrying a shovel from 15,000 feet requires absolute optical clarity. The 1080p resolution of the new central display gives the pilot unprecedented situational awareness. It transforms the A-10 pilot from a traditional stick and rudder flyer into a digital battlespace manager. But the brilliance of Suite 11 isn't just in the hardware, it's in how the software is built. Suite 11 is the first A-10 operational flight program developed using agile development methodologies. In the past, updating a fighter jet software took years of bureaucratic red tape, monolithic coding blocks, and drawn-out testing phases. By the time the software hit the fleet, the threat landscape had already changed. Agile development means the Air Force can now push rapid, iterative updates to the A-10's computers. If a new electronic warfare threat emerges in a theater of operations, programmers can code a countermeasure, test it, and push it to the fleet systems in a fraction of the time. Alongside the screens and software, Suite 11 completely overhauls the aircraft's communication and navigation architecture. It integrates ARC-210 radio upgrades and, crucially, jam-resistant GPS. In a modern conflict, adversaries will attempt to blind American aircraft by jamming global positioning signals and severing communication links with ground forces. The new A-10 is hardwired to fight through the electromagnetic static, ensuring that even in a heavily degraded electronic warfare environment, the Warthog always knows exactly where it is and exactly where the enemy is hiding. Furthermore, the cockpit now features a 3D audio surround sound system. Instead of hearing a flat warning tone for an incoming missile, the audio system plays the warning tone from the exact spatial direction the threat is coming from. If a surface-to-air missile is launched from the pilot's back right, the warning alarm sounds exclusively in the back right of their helmet, reducing reaction time by critical milliseconds. Part 4. Multiplying lethality, the GBU-39 SDB and APKWS. All of these avionics and screens are ultimately designed to do one thing: put warheads on foreheads with terrifying efficiency. And this is where the new A-10 fundamentally changes the geometry of the battlefield. The crown jewel of the A-10's new weapons package is the full integration of the GBU-39 Small Diameter Bomb, or SDB-1. For decades, the A-10 relied heavily on the AGM-65 Maverick missile and 500 to 2,000-pound gravity bombs. These are devastating weapons, but they are heavy, meaning the aircraft can only carry a limited number, and they require the A-10 to fly relatively close to the target area. The small diameter bomb flips the script. The SDB is a 250-pound class precision-guided glide bomb. Because it is so lightweight and compact, the A-10 can utilize a BRU-61A smart carriage system, allowing it to pack 4 SDBs onto a single weapons hardpoint. A fully loaded A-10 can now theoretically carry up to 18 of these weapons, while still leaving room for self-defense air-to-air missiles and targeting pods. But the sheer volume of weapons is only half the story. The SDB features deployable diamond-back wings that allow it to glide for more than 40 nautical miles when released from altitude. This gives the A-10 a true standoff strike capability. And A-10 can now loiter safely outside the engagement ring of short-range air defense systems, SHORAD. Designate a target, drop an SDB, and turn away while the bomb glides silently and precisely to its target. Remember the Suite 10 multiple target list upgrade we talked about? Combine that with the SDB. A single A-10 can now ripple-fire 18 small-diameter bombs at 18 distinct independent targets across the battlefield in a single pass. In a high-end combat scenario against mechanized infantry, one A-10 can wipe out an entire company of armored personnel carriers, anti-aircraft guns, and supply trucks before the enemy even hears the roar of the jet engines. And for lighter targets, the new modernization program brings full integration of the AGR-20 Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, or APKWS. This system takes the old, unguided 2.75-inch Hydra rockets that helicopters and attack jets have used since Vietnam and screws a laser guidance section between the warhead and the rocket motor. The A-10 can carry pods of 7 or 19 of these rockets. With the new software integration, the pilot can target the APKWS at its absolute maximum kinematic range, keeping the aircraft out of the lethal envelope of heavy machine gun fire. The rockets are cheap, have a tiny blast radius to minimize collateral damage, and are highly accurate. It gives the A-10 pilot a scalpel to use alongside the sledgehammer of the JDAMs and SDBs. Part 5. The GA-8 Avenger, an old dog with new teeth. You cannot talk about the A-10 Warthog without talking about the gun. The 30mm GA-8A Avenger rotary cannon is the very reason the airframe exists. The plane was literally built around the 4,000-pound weapon system. The front landing gear is offset to the right just so the firing barrel of the cannon can sit dead center on the aircraft's longitudinal axis, preventing the sheer recoil force from knocking the plane off target. Some analysts argue that in the era of smart bombs and glide weapons, a close-range strafing cannon is obsolete. They are dead wrong. The GA-8 fires depleted uranium armor-piercing incendiary rounds at a rate of 3,900 rounds per minute. Against modern main battle tanks equipped with explosive reactive armor, the gun's effectiveness might be debated by armchair generals, but against infantry fighting vehicles, supply convoys, radar installations, and entrenched infantry, the psychological and kinetic devastation of the 30mm is unmatched by any weapon in the U.S. arsenal. With the new Suite 10 and 11 upgrades, the high-resolution display, and the HObIT helmet, the GA-8 just became exponentially more lethal. In the past, a pilot had to physically align the aircraft's nose with the target using a fixed reticle. Now, the continuously computed impact point, CCIP, is calculated with vastly superior sensors and algorithms, accounting for wind shear, altitude, and aircraft slip with digital perfection. The targeting pod provides a high-definition zoom on the target area, ensuring the pilot knows exactly what they are shooting at, reducing the risk of friendly fire in danger-close situations where troops are engaged in hand-to-hand combat distances. The A-10 doesn't just shoot bullets, it shoots kinetic energy. The damage model of the A-10 is based on overwhelming force. In contested environments where adversaries might deploy active protection systems designed to shoot down incoming anti-tank missiles, those systems are entirely useless against a storm of 30mm depleted uranium slugs traveling at over 3,000 feet per second. You cannot jam a bullet. You cannot hack a 30mm shell. When the digital precision of 2024 meets the brutal mechanical violence of the GA-8, the result is total target annihilation. The reality of military aviation is defined by budgets and high-end threat assessments. The Air Force has begun retiring older, less maintainable A-10s, sending them to the boneyard at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. The 2025 National Defense Authorization Act allowed the Air Force to reduce the minimum number of operational Warthogs from 135 to 96. We are seeing squadrons like the 25th Fighter Squadron at Osan Air Base in South Korea begin to divest their aircraft to make room for upgraded 4th and 5th generation fighters. But do not mistake a reduction in fleet size for the death of the platform. The aircraft that remain are the most capable, digitally integrated, and heavily armed Warthogs to ever take to the sky. The Air Force is stripping away the fat and sharpening the spear. The A-10s flying today, equipped with small diameter bombs, high-res displays, 3D audio, and jam-proof GPS, are not the same aircraft that flew in Desert Storm. They are highly networked, standoff-capable aerial snipers that still possess the ability to drop down into the mud and rip the enemy apart with a 30mm chainsaw when the ground troops call Broken Arrow. As long as infantrymen have boots on the ground, there will be a need for an aircraft that is willing to take a hit, stay in the fight, and deliver unrelenting close air support. The new A-10 isn't just surviving, it is evolving. And as the Blacksnakes of the 122nd Fighter Wing proved with their menacing new livery, the Warthog still rules the night. This is Global Strike Metrics, where we strip away the PR talking points and analyze the raw tactical data of modern warfare. If you want to understand the true capabilities of the weapons shaping the future of global conflict, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below on whether you think the A-10 can survive a modern war with China or Russia, and we will see you on the next deep dive.